Hello, everyone. Hey, Crisis. Hey, Irvin. I don't know if you guys are still here because I'm late. I apologize. I was tending to my chickens. I don't have anything planned as usual, unlike some of the other streamers, simply because I don't really have anything like new per se. So, but I still want to do these live streams as much as possible to potentially talk about things that I've missed or go over the same things again. Hey, Hard Eyes. Hello, Santa Muerte on a Harley. I just wanted to say the whole thing because it sounded fun to say. Virtual hugs to you as well, Heart Eyes. So we'll give it a couple minutes and then we can talk about whatever we want. When we don't talk about Watts, we can talk about other cases. Because I would be curious to know what's going on with those. We can play Quiplash. Just kidding. Well, I'm kind of kidding. Maybe we could play a game at the end. It's really fun. But if I just make a stream that says games, no one will show up. I don't know why, because games are fun. I love games. Not mind games, of course. Never mind games. Hey, Loretta. So, something, I'll tell you guys something that I just did like a little bit ago when I was doing some, I guess you could call it research. I don't know. I was just kind of looking up different things, but oh, and please let me know. I'm going to turn my headphones down here. If I go mute for an extended period of time, please let me know in the chat because it's probably my microphone messing up again. So, but it's difficult to hear myself in my head and try to do the stream at the same time. But so I was doing some research, and so I was on the computer, and just like when you sit there, for me personally, anyways, a long time, I probably shouldn't, but I start to like slouch, and so I had my notepad, and I just grabbed the closest writing utensil that was near me, and so that just happened to be a black Sharpie, and I'm sure you guys probably already know where I'm going with this, but hey, Exploring Ginger. So I wrote down my note, and then I hunched over, and I know you guys can't see me, but use visual. I just, kind of hunched over, and then I put the Sharpie underneath my chin. It just rested my chin on the Sharpie, and I was sitting there, and I'm like, why does that Sharpie smell so freaking strong, right? And I'm like, it's not, I don't have the notepad near me. I'm like, yeah, Sharpies are strong, but it's like really strong. And I'm like, still sitting there with the Sharpie underneath my chin, and I don't move it, and I just go, I didn't put the lid on, did I? Or the cap back on. And I grabbed a tissue and wiped my chin, and there's just black all over the tissue. So right now I have, black all over my hands, and there's like just a big mass of black on my chin. So that was a blonde moment of the day. Hey, Matt. Yeah, hard as I will. Even that doesn't seem to take it off all the way, though. So, sometimes, but I don't know. It's just funny. I do stuff like that every once in a while. And it's weird, actually, though, because I always put the cap. Well, not always, obviously, but 99% of the time, I put the cap back on all of my markers and Sharpies and pens, so they don't dry out, because I try to take care of my stuff. But I don't know if I was thinking it was just a regular pen. I don't know. But anyways, so I just thought I'd tell you guys that. Oh, here's another funny story, Hard Eyes. The first time I ever made bacon, like when you cook breakfast or, eggs, you need to put butter or oil in the pan, right? Well, I remembered that. And so what I did is I put some oil in the pan before I cooked the bacon, and the bacon was burnt so bad. It literally, like, I tried to, pick it up and it just like crumbled. It was so burnt. I was like, well, I didn't want to. So yeah. So I didn't want it to stick to the pan or burn. Not even thinking about all the grease in it. Yeah, and I burn grilled cheese a lot because I will make grilled cheese and then I'll walk away thinking I'll be fine. It'll be fine, and then I come back and the whole one side of my grilled cheese is burnt. Usually it's savable. I just scrape it off. But if you have to get a new piece of bread, it's such a pain in the butt. What's your height? Describe yourself. I am. Oh wait, is this are we doing like a virtual like dating thing here? I'm just kidding. I don't even know what that is. I just made it up. Or maybe it is something. But I haven't measured myself in a long time, but I would imagine that I probably haven't changed that much in height. I hope. But I would say that I'm like, I'm 5'4", but I like to say 5'4.5", just because it sounds good. And 5'4" sounds really short. So 5'4.5". No, I'm just giving you a hard time, Irvin. I know. No, I don't care. So yeah, I'm about 5'4.5". Like, yellowy blonde hair and cartoon looking, if you know what I mean. Hard Eyes, you're 5'3". Yeah, you're pretty short. Except my cousin's girlfriend, she was like 4'9" or something. Like, she was tiny. Or not, she is. She's still alive. I don't know why I said she was. Cheesy bread is good. I don't like care for like mozzarella sticks that much. And if I do eat them, they have to be like super hot, because if the cheese starts to cool down, it gets all like, I don't know, stringy and hard. I don't know. But no, I haven't, Irvin. One, because I'm already nervous enough as it is, coming up and doing these streams and coming up and going out of my comfort zone. Even though I've been doing it for 2 years, you think I would be a professional by now, but I'm not. And two, just simply because, well, there's a lot of crazy people out there. Not saying you guys are crazy, but if you follow this case alone, you'll know what I'm talking about, right? Hey, Tiger Girl. Hey, Sophia's dream. What is your picture, Sophia? I can't tell, but it looks neat. Hi, I listened to these women that are looking into the Watts case from Ireland, and they say Shan was probably gone way before Sunday night morning, or Sunday night, Monday morning. I'm 5'4". So I heard these women, and then at the end of your comment, I'm 5'4", by the way. That was cute. Yeah, we're like munchkins in here, huh? Like I can still smell the Sharpie on my chin. So if I act a little strange right now, you'll know why. I'm doing like what are they called? Whippets or something, but with Sharpies. Also, the recovery firefighters identified different clothing on the girls from the corner. Yeah, that's the thing with this case is there's a lot of inconsistencies, a lot of discrepancies. Um, I'm just not sure which ones, based on my theory, which ones are done on purpose or simply just they fudged up. It's like a horseshoe type of jewel pattern. Oh, I like it. It's really pretty. I like the turquoise like color. Shh, heart eyes. No, it wasn't. Okay, trying to get me, trying to get me banned from YouTube or what? I used to have a huffy bike when I was a kid. That's the only huffing I know. I don't know what you're talking about, hard eyes. In the discovery, excuse me, in the discovery, it said one of the girls had severe skin slippage, but the other only had it on her right arm. If they were put in the tanks about the same time, why did one have more than the other? Yeah, I don't know. That's strange. I didn't know that it said that in the discovery. That's interesting. Sophia, who's the or what channel is that? What am I trying to say? The women from Ireland called their channel. Does that make sense? What's also interesting, if you want to go into the symbolism in this case, which I never have a problem doing, in the discovery it says that I don't remember which one was which, but one of the girls was face down in the tank, and the other one was face up, which is it symbolize it's a symbolism for as above, so below, which is a common terminology in occult text. Yeah, but what it well, actually I don't even know I'm not even gonna not even gonna answer that hard ice. Not because I don't want to answer your question, but just because based on my theory, I guess it's irrelevant. And it's not like I don't, it's not like I'm not open minded to other theories or anything like that, because I would be hypocritical if I wasn't. But it's difficult for me to discuss certain things like that, or parts of the discovery, um, where, well, any of it actually, because based on my theory, it's all fabricated. So, um, talking about like what happened at Nutgate, or what happened, what did Kessinger do on her birthday, or did she ping in Frederick at this time, or etc. It doesn't matter because, again, based on my theory, none of it's real, none of it's factual. You know what I mean? Hey, Spiggy G. Hey, Chris. Who fabricated what? Did you guys know that this is interesting based on the how they like to use their symbolism and their little Easter eggs? The In the discovery, it says that Chris worked for, I think it's Covenant. No, not, is it Covenant, or is it yeah, Covenant fabrication company, or I might be getting that mixed up. I'll have to find that. Actually, I think I tried to look it up and I couldn't find it in the discovery. Probably because they took it out, like they've been doing for a while now. Nutgate, can you elaborate? Nutgate, can you elaborate? That rhymed. Okay. Hey, Lazy Living. What do you mean, Nutgate? Can I elaborate? That was very original, Spiggy G. That's a good question, Chris. They meaning, I'm not going to say like the shadow government. I'm not going to say the Illuminati, but the ones who are in control of orchestrating these events. Those are the ones that I'm talking about. And do I know exactly by names who they are? No. So I say they. The government. I don't know what, section of it, but I usually say they, or the powers that be, or the ones in control of the narrative. Let me make sure my microphone's still working. If it is, I would be shocked. Oh, it is. Wow. Okay, good. And I mean, for the first year, I dove into that discovery just as much as anyone else did, if not more. Um, trying to figure out who said this and who said that, and everything else that you can think of, trying to figure out what happened, because it's not like they told us anything of relevance. So I've definitely been there, done that. Like, so when hey, Amanda, um Sorry, I got a notification from StreamYard saying that my microphone lost connection, but at least they let me know this time. And then if the microphone loses connection or whatever it's doing, it will actually mute the mute button automatically. So then I have to remember that that's muted before I start talking again, because I just started talking after I noticed the notification, and I had to just say everything I just said over again. So I'm saying it for the second time now. Hey, Lauren. You did hear everything I said? Oh, okay, because it said I lost my microphone, lost connection. So I had to unplug it and plug it back in. But so what I was saying was, I saw about the nut allergy, right? And then there's a video that we all know about of Shanann and Chris giving the girls Thrive bars to try. They try the cookies and cream one, and then they try the lemon meringue. Well, if you probably not anymore, but a year ago, if you went to Thrive's website and you look on, or Lavelle's website, and you look on their ingredients for their lemon meringue, it says at the very bottom, and it's almost like cut off. It's weird, like how they and then that don't even get me started on Lavelle, but every time you had to, it's just the website is terrible. Every time you wanted to look at the ingredients in their products, you had to click on it and then download the PDF image. It's just really annoying. It's like I swear they do that on purpose. But at the very bottom, it was like I said, it was cut off a little bit, but you can see it says nut allergy. I don't remember if it's a tree nut allergy warning, but I'm still not sure if Cece was allegedly allergic to tree nuts or just nuts or what, or if our coconuts tree nuts, or I don't know. But anyways, my point is that I've gone down all those rabbit holes in order to come to my conclusion as well. It's not like I just saw the porch interview, Chris's porch interview, and just said, "Oh, yep, this is orchestrated, total hoax," right? No, I didn't. It wasn't right away. So yeah, I know it's live stream you're talking about, Lauren, that Zav did. Yeah, okay, wait. The ingredients change after Shanann Watts passed, if that's what you're referring to. Why? And that's the thing, is why would the ingredients change? I don't know. I mean, it's not odd for a company to change their ingredients, but it's another one of those things that it's very coincidental. Hey, Delaney. Oh, and Amanda, you're doing a great job on your channel, by the way. I wanted to let you know that. So if I don't think I have any moderators in here. If I get a chance, I'll put your link in the chat, Amanda, for your channel. So so they can go check you out. Not check you out, check your channel out. Unless you want them to check you out. Anyway. I think the Sharpie is getting to me. Hey, States of the United. Okay, Irvin. We'll be here, I think. No, we'll be here. So for those of you just getting here, or just getting here a couple minutes ago, nothing planned. I'm just going to ramble or try to answer some of your questions and go. We're just going to wing it. Yeah, and that's the whole point, Lauren. Referring to your comment about wanting to try Thrive. So I'm glad you brought that up. And I brought this up many, many times in my live streams. And so again, it's going to sound repetitive to some of you, but usually the reason why, or not usually, but the reason why I repeat things so much is because they're important and they need repeating. You know what I mean? But, and not only that, but if there's anybody new and they haven't heard it, then it won't be, it'll be new to them. But before I talk about the Thrive thing, I'm just going to grab a drink out of the fridge real quick, okay? Talk amongst yourselves. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so about Lauren's comment about trying Thrive, right? I don't know how many like followers Shanann had on Facebook prior to the event happening. I'm sure she had quite a few, but nothing compared to the amount of views that her videos have received since that day, right? I mean, because this case is weird, right? It's high profile, it's widespread media attention. But there's even some people that live in Colorado that have never even heard of the case. But with all the documentaries, especially with Netflix, I mean, just look at the views alone on Shanann's videos on YouTube, right? So millions of people have watched these videos, and not just once, but sometimes multiple times. So it's, in my opinion, the reason why Shanann's Facebook was made public and why it still is, it was a huge, huge publicity stunt by Lavelle. So, in my opinion, Lavelle was one of the bigger catalysts in this case, or at least they had a huge role in it, especially on the benefiting side. So, like I said, I don't know how many viewers Shanann had, but millions of people have watched her Facebook videos, right? And there's some people that have said to me, well, that's ridiculous, because why would anybody want to try Thrive? That's, or a product that's associated with a quadruple homicide. It doesn't matter because they're still going to try it just out of curiosity. It doesn't matter if it's and there's no proof that the drive had anything to do with it, right? Based on the official narrative, there's no proof that that's what caused Chris to do what he did. Again, based on the official narrative. I have to say that because I don't want to feel like I'm going that direction. You guys feel like I'm going that direction. But I have seen several channel creators who now, maybe not several, but I've seen a couple channel creators that worked, or that not worked, that covered the Watts case, who are either trying Thrive or use Thrive, or they're selling it. And I've seen many, many comments where people have said, oh yeah, I tried Thrive, or I want to try Thrive, or they go to Nicole Atkinson's website, I want to try, how can I sign up to sell Thrive? So it worked. Definitely. It doesn't matter if it's connected to a murder case or not. I mean, because if you think about it, you can turn any direction in this case without seeing something Thrive related, or something, or someone saying or mentioning it. You have Officer Kunad's body cam footage, and Nicole Atkinson is wearing 2 patches. You have all the mainstream media outlets saying, oh, Shanann worked for Thrive, Lavelle, Thrive. How many times was it mentioned in interviews and all the coworkers said, oh yeah, Shanann worked for Thrive. So, subconsciously, that's all we're hearing is Thrive, Thrive, Thrive. And then watching Shanann's videos. Oh, I cleaned the house. I took the girls to school, gave them baths, fed them, cleaned the house again, right? Just to make sure I got all the dirt. So, and Shanann said, what'd she say? Like, she's had to stop, or she could stop taking her medication, right? Most of it for her ailments because of Thrive. She even goes to say on Facebook that Thrive was the reason why she got pregnant with Nico so fast, even though she had to, hey Shani, she had to, I don't know the technical term for it, but they needed help for Bella and Cece. So, when people hear that and hear how she has, she could stop taking her medication, but we don't know what happens when that camera turns off. Like, she could crash right out, or she could be in pain all the time. But once that camera turns on, it's like, oh, yep, clean the house, did all this. I mean, I'm not saying that it doesn't work. Actually, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that it's a total pyramid scheme. And I personally would never try their products based on just their website alone, because they're not transparent whatsoever. And I'm not going to get into all that. But it is, it's definitely cult-like. It's a cult-like feeling for sure. And so not only with just the comments and, some of the other creators and whatnot saying that they've tried it or they're selling it, Lavelle's sales skyrocketed after the event. Now, one can argue and say, well, just because their sales went up doesn't, it doesn't mean that it was from the event. But I mean, that's true. I wish I could find I don't know if anyone knows where to find this sort of information, but there's got to be some sort of website where you can look up a company's like sales for that year, or some sort of information as far as that goes. But the only thing that the article told me was that they skyrocketed. So I don't have like exact numbers. I wish I did. Hey, Nicole. Oh, night, Shani. I was just about to say you're up late. I mean, I'm not saying that she didn't have any of the ailments that she said she had. I'm just, voicing my opinion as far as we don't know what happens after that camera shuts off. I mean, you're talking about someone who works in sales. That job is to sell products, right? Just because she says that it works, it doesn't mean that it does. But from a marketing perspective, how genius is that? Knowing that millions of people are going to watch Shanann's, as far as Lavelle's concerned, millions of people are going to watch her videos. That's why Shanann's Facebook was left public. Because why would the Ruseks leave Shanann's Facebook up the whole time and then have the audacity to say, you're not allowed to talk about the case? That's weird, because I'm pretty sure your daughter's Facebook right now looks like a campaign for Thrive. It doesn't look like a memorial. It looks like an advertisement for Thrive or Lavelle, in my opinion. But it's free, 100% free. They didn't have to pay anything to have millions of people hear about their product. I mean, to me, in my opinion, it was brilliant. Wait, Shan, you can't go to bed yet. We're going to play Quiplash after this. Just kidding. Well, I mean, I'm kidding about you going to bed. We might play Quiplash. I don't know if anybody's going to want to play. Maybe I'll play on DLive, but... Wait, what was horrible publicity? Lavelle changed their name? Sorry, I must have missed a comment. Definitely not transparent. I had to go out of my way to learn more about the ingredients. None of my questions got answered by anyone. It's odd. Yeah, exactly, Sophia. They are okay, because if I'm interested in a company's product, I want them to be as transparent as they possibly can, right? And like you said, they don't. Their about section about the company is like a paragraph long, maybe two. I'm like, really? And then the only thing on the website is just like these, cool videos like, yeah, try Thrive, Lavelle, yeah, burn calories, feel good, right? That does nothing for me. That's just fancy videos that look cool. But nowhere on their website does it say, well, and like Sophia said, you literally have to go out of your way to find the ingredients, or you have to have a Thrive bar right next to you. And not only that, but again, their website doesn't say anything. Where do they get their ingredients from? Where do they get their products from? Where are the farms that they're getting these products from? Who are the nutritionists that are, coming up with these products or testing these products, or the scientists? Where's their lab? Where's their lab located? Is it in Mexico? Is it in Colorado? Is it in, where's all this information about this company? It's scary. I would never, ever try a product for them. And they claim that their ingredients are gluten-free. How the heck do I know if they're gluten-free? If I don't even know who's handling the products, I don't know what factory is. Again, I don't know what farm you're growing your wheat from. I don't know if there's wheat in it, but You know what I mean? Like there's zero transparency. And I'm very surprised that they have a somewhat decent rating on BBB. Because I think it's like bad review, bad review, bad review, good. Like, it's like bad review, like really, really bad reviews, and then a really, really good review, right? And we could probably assume that it's a family member whose sister sells Thrive, or someone that works for Thrive giving these good reviews, and that's why their rating stays where it does, because there's nothing good about that company in my opinion. Oh, and that's another thing, Lauren. I wonder if Thrive really does get you pregnant, if it's any different from prenatal or regular vitamins. It says on their label that you should not use Thrive if you are pregnant. And Shanann used Thrive when she was pregnant. Not making any accusations. I'm just saying, I mean, she's a grown woman. She can use whatever the hell she wants. But it does say on their label that pregnant women or breastfeeding women should not use their product. And especially since it has, I think 99%, if not all their products, have green coffee bean extract in it, which is essentially, I was going to say cocaine, which is essentially caffeine. Now there's benefits to green coffee extract, and then there's also cons. So, or pros and cons. One of the negatives to green coffee bean extract is, or side effects, I should say, is like heart arrhythmia because of the caffeine. And heart arrhythmia and something else. I should probably look it up. But again, I'm not going to get into the Thrive thing, and here I am talking about Thrive. But so yeah, so heart arrhythmia, so you shouldn't obviously use it if you have like a weak heart. Another thing is with green coffee bean extract. What is it again? I think I mentioned this in my video, but it has something to do with like irritable bowel syndrome or something. So something to do with IBS. But and maybe I should just look it up. Maybe I should just look it up. Wait, so Shanann had lupus and not restasis. What is it? Is it RI? I can't remember. But then there was another one. Oh, celiac. She had celiac disease. She mentions it on one of her Facebook posts. And with celiac disease, that affects your whole digestive bowel system, right? And people with celiac can't eat gluten, or it makes them, get really, really sick. Both ways, both exits. Okay, sorry. And with that green coffee bean extract, it will cause you to have, it can cause you to have bowel problems. I don't know why I'm talking about bowel movements and stuff right now. I'm just going to move on. But my point is Shanann, I'm not a medical doctor, but I'm just saying from what I read, she probably should not have been using Thrive with all her with that coffee bean extract in their products. I mean, and we don't know. I mean, and that's the thing with their transparency and the ingredients. It's like how much green coffee bean extract is in each Thrive bar, or each shake, or each patch, right? Is it enough to cause any major side effects? We don't know because they're not transparent. They don't answer those questions. They just list a couple ingredients on the back and say that they work, that it's good for you. Hey, Mark. Okay, I lost the comment. He looks pretty high all the time, in my opinion. Oh, speaking of Chris's big egghead. Hey, Eddie. I know, right? And I'm like, yeah, and then it's coming out both ends, and then, yeah, I know. It's not FDA approved because it's a propriety blend, so the dose of one tablet and patch cannot be consistent from anything. All of them are individually sold in most health stores. But how do and that's the thing, is how do we know that it's really gluten-free? And with, like I said, with lupus, you're not supposed to have gluten. And Shanann was on a gluten-free diet. There's no way to confirm whether or not the products have, unless you're the ones making the products, how would you know that they didn't get cross-contaminated with something that had gluten in it? So I think they're full of shit, in my opinion. Okay. But yeah, speaking of, sorry, I just had to click on a comment because I lose the other one and then it'll stay up there forever. But speaking of Chris's big egghead, and I'm sure you guys are aware of this already, but I just, like I said, I was kind of just browsing around, researching different things, and decided to look this up. I've looked it up before, but let me put this on my other monitor here. So I'm gonna share the screen. Not really. I'm just gonna share the screen. Can I start this live over? 50 minutes in. Can I start it over? How many restarts do I get? Okay, it should come here any second now. Hopefully, anytime now. There we go. Okay, so I just searched for murder suspect police interrogations. Let me make it full screen. See, I wish I was using OBS because I could just crop all that crap on the outside. And now my StreamYard screen is really, really tiny. Okay, doesn't matter. Oh, I know. Okay, I got this. All right. I'm just trying to make it a little bit larger for you to click on each individual video. I'm sure you can see it, but just in case some of you don't have, like, 20/20 vision. I don't even know. There we go. Okay. So, murder suspect, police interrogations. Suspect. It's not like he's not facing, like, exactly. Well, actually, I don't even know which one is which. So just to make sure. But either way, it doesn't matter. We still don't see the full back of their head, right? So I'll get like copyright or something. Bud Light, seltzer, iced tea, each. That. What AP? What am I using here? Associated Press. Are they gonna get me for copyright? Probably.
As an Uber driver, and she told me I had to go sign a lease at One North. And oh, I know where that's at. I'll drop you off. If you're afraid to tell us that you gave a ride someplace, we can work with you there. But
I don't think you guys can hear that because I didn't do share audio. But so I just want to make sure this is the suspect or the suspect, the one being interrogated. So it's not completely frontal view, but at least we don't have to see the back of this guy's head, right? The entire time. We can still see, a little bit his facial features. Yeah, exactly, Irvin. About Chris's okay. So then you have Matthew Boynton. Matthew Boynton. Frontal view. What happens in Vegas? What? Okay. I don't know what that is. Someone else being interrogated. This chick. We still see her face. Her. Frontal view. Frontal view. This is actually really clear. Surprise. Murder suspect wrenches free of handcuffs and escapes from Las Vegas interrogation room. What? Okay. I don't know if I believe all that, but okay. Front view, not the back of his head. I don't know. Let's see. What case is this? Oh, this is a Arizona one. Wonder if I've heard about this. I'm assuming this guy is the suspect because he's got his paperwork here, Mr. Detective Man. This one has 2 angles. Look at this camera view. Holy crap! Can you imagine if Well County and CBI had a picture-in-picture? That would be way too convenient for us, right? Frontal view. Really close-up view. Straight. Again. Even with the military guy, I forget his name. Really creepy dude. multiple camera views. Another one. This guy. Not the head, not the back of his head, not the back of his head, not the back of her head. This lady's head or his. Well, this looks like a nice, comfy interrogation. He got in, huh? Another picture that we did not get in the Watts case. Hang on. Not the back of his head, not her head. Back of his head, but he's leaning over. He's eating a freaking bagel. Picture. Oh, Russell Williams, that's right. Do you guys want me to keep going? Because I will. To prove a point. Why is it that I think last time I did the research on this, I think I saw one person besides Chris Watts that had their back to the camera. And I should have jotted down who that was. But how in the heck, unless law enforcement has another camera in there, another camera view, why didn't we get that camera view? Because they're trying to be transparent. Does the public not deserve to see when Chris Watts confesses to killing his entire family? If they did have another camera in there, and if they didn't have another camera in there with a frontal view of Chris's big egg head, then, and that's not disinformation. He has a big egg head. So, just saying. If they didn't have another camera, how is one law enforcement going to be able to dissect, Chris's body language, and break it down, or to analyze it or study it in the future, or even during the quote unquote interrogation? Or not even an interrogation, it was more like a casual meeting. How are psychiatrists or therapists, mental health experts going to be able to analyze that video, that interrogation? You know what I mean? How would they be able to learn, or and do any studies if they can't even see Chris's freaking body language, his facial features, or anything? It's great. And if it did, let's say if it's based on the official narrative, and let's say it did go to trial, or if Chris did decide that he wanted to appeal, right, in the days they show that to a judge or what in the hell are they supposed to do with that? Looking at the back of this dude's head. It's not realistic. It's ridiculous. Chris is a truth sayer. I don't know about that. I have to politely disagree with you on that. Unless you're being sarcastic, then that's funny. But yeah, how would a jury be able to? What would they be able to do with that? Whole lot of nothing. And in my opinion, the reason why they had Chris put his back to the camera, right, or the camera to the back of his head, because he's just a shitty actor. He's a crappy actor, and unfortunately it worked in their favor with the whole narcissist thing, covert narcissist, psychopath, murderer. No, in my opinion, that's not the case. There's several times on the body cam footage where he shows Duper's delight. And if my computer was faster, I would bring that clip up for you guys to give you, some sort of visual. But you guys might even know what part I'm talking about. But it's when Rod and Chris are in the closet, and Chris is mentioning something about Ken, and he literally has like this grin on his face. Like he just can't help the Duper's delight. And then there's a couple other times where he does it. And he also does it in his first interview with Graham Coder. He starts laughing. And it's hard to see because the video footage is absolutely terrible. Looks like it's there's better footage from interrogations in 1973. Okay. So there's no excuse for it. But it was released like that on purpose to make it more difficult for us to figure out what the hell is going on, or potentially analyze Chris's facial expressions or whatever. So that part that day, that in that interview, not interrogation interview, I, in my opinion, think they had him face that direction so we couldn't analyze his body language and see his facial features, or have anyone else, for that matter, any other professionals, because remember, he's supposed to be confessing to murdering his entire family. The last thing that they're going to want him to do is mess up his lines, right? And blow the whole thing. Just my opinion. And I know that doesn't, by all means, but it's just, because why is it one, a quadruple homicide case, guys? It's kind of a big deal. I'm not saying that any other murders are not a big deal, but they made it a big deal, right? They mainstream media got the story out there freaking faster than you can say Nicole Kessinger is, I don't know. I was going to say why, but so it's kind of a big deal, right? Why would they record the back of Chris's head and then think it's okay to release that bullshit to us and say they're being transparent? I don't know if they said that that's why they released any of these case files or anything, but if they were trying to be transparent, they failed miserably because they didn't give us anything relevant in this case. What the hell are we supposed to do with that footage with the back of his head? I have this email if anyone wants more Thrive info, but can I put it here? I can make you a mod if you want to drop the link, Sophia. I'll make you a mod so you can drop that. And voila. Oh, very sarcastic. Okay, good. I was hoping you'd say that. And I should have known better because I know how you are, Chris. So I'm familiar with your sarcastic comments because they remind me of myself. It's like you're going through my internet history at the moment, all those interrogations. That's funny. That's all of internet history? Because that would not be mine. It would be very, very random and a wide variety of things. Yeah, no, and that I get that, Irvin. Because I'm the same way. Like I'm like I said, I've been doing this for 2 years, and I still get nervous sometimes doing these live streams. Sorry. My cat was like meow because I locked him out from the room. Oh, okay, Matt, that's funny. You guys crack me up. But no, yeah, I'm the same way. But we're supposed to believe that this guy is a psychopath or psychopathic murderer who annihilated his entire family, right? That's what they're telling us. That's what we've been led to believe. And just because you're socially awkward, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're not a murderer or that you are. But again, you have to try to look at, if it's possible, look at this case from a different perspective. Forget the official narrative. I know that's going to be difficult to do because they just drill it into our brains for weeks, right? Months. But you have to try to just forget the narrative and try to push your emotions aside if you are emotionally or have been emotionally affected by this case, because it's going to definitely cloud your judgment 100%. And that's the only way that in my opinion anyone's going to be able to who doesn't already know the truth about this case. That's the only way that they're going to be able to see this case for what it really is, if they can do those two things. And that's just two things, but those are the main things. Push emotions aside and look at it from you have to take a big step back and just really think outside the box. And just because you have to think outside the box, it doesn't make it this huge crazy theory. Or you just have to look at it from a different perspective is all. That's okay, Sophia. You can put it in the chat again. No, I know you're not, Irvin, and I'm glad that you brought that up because, and usually there is a logical explanation or a reason for certain things, and it's just like when I talk about even though I say when I talk about my theory, even though I don't really talk about my theory, because I wish I could just come out and say this is what I think, but and I'm not over exaggerating when I say I don't want to say my theory because I don't want to lose my channel. Because just even certain words that I say will, red flag my channel. And I've worked, too hard to just lose it. But no, I don't remember what I was saying. Something about your comment, Irvin, but oh, I know. I had to sit there and think about it for a second. When I talk about my theory, or talk about the case, like just try to keep in mind that it's not just 1, 2, or 3 like things that I might mention on this live stream or whatever, that brought me to my conclusion about this case, right? It's, over 2 years worth of researching and digging and seeing all these red flags that I see in other events, and all of the symbolism, the truth is in the patterns, and the people, the powers that be, the ones that control the narrative of these events that are pushing agendas by orchestrating them, they use the same like itinerary, I guess. I don't know if that's a right word, but they use the same like characteristics and the same outline for a lot of these events. And that's why I was able to spot this case for what it, or be able to see it for what it really is. Because I started to notice those red flags and those characteristics that I've seen in other events, in other cases that I've researched and that I've learned about. You know what I mean? Yeah, of course, and I will. And again, if any of you are following me on D Live, just go to my channel and just leave a comment. I check it multiple times a day. I might not check it like right when you post it, but drop me a comment and just say, hey, can you, if you're not busy, can you go live and explain your theory to me? I have no problem doing that whatsoever on D Live. Obviously if I have the time to do it. If not, I'll say, hey, can I do it? Are you free in a little bit? Yeah, no problem doing that whatsoever. Or email is fine as well, but I just have to get that to you somehow. Or I guess I could post it in the chat and because my email's in my about section on my YouTube channel, but it's just not exposed for the whole world to see unless someone's looking for it. So I brought this other event up several times. I made a video about it a while back and compared that case or that event to this event, the Watts case, to show those similarities that I'm referring to, those red flags, those characteristics. And not only in another event, but another tragic event that has many red flags and many holes and inconsistencies in its narrative. Because again, I'm not questioning everything. I mean, I do question everything, but I'm not saying that every single tragic event is orchestrated. That's not what I'm saying. I'm only questioning the ones that don't add up, like the Chris Watts case and this other event that shall not be mentioned on YouTube. So I have to speak in code. Like, so if I want to, this is how difficult it is. If I want to say, here's another event that happened prior to the Watts case, right? And so that I can give you those similarities and explain all those, that would be great, but I can't, because I've literally seen channels get taken down for simply talking about that event. So it would be wonderful. I mean, I don't want to speak in code. I don't want to have to say pew 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 to to get my point across about guns. I don't care. I'll say it. I mean, that's how ridiculous it is, because you can't even say guns without potentially getting your channel flagged. What if I was talking about like muscles? What if I was talking about his big guns? Like, it's just ridiculous. the censorship is insane. Hey, Sugar and Spice. But if I, like I said, if I could, I would. But I mean, I can, but it's probably not going to make sense. And you're going to go, what the hell is she talking about? Like, what prior event to the Watts case? What, I've done it before, so I can do it again. But I'd rather not make it confusing for anyone. But I wish I could be straight to the point. Trust me. Well, don't trust me. Think for yourself. But I'm kidding. Not kidding. Anyway. Spell it out instead. Yeah, I could get like a whiteboard and I could just, do like little index cards. Well, like not little ones, but like a bigger one, like poster board, and just write it and then just keep switching them out. I could use, well, I'm not on camera, but if I was on camera, I could do like charades or something. Like first word, 2 syllables. Sound like I'm, babbling for anybody that is new or just comes into the chat. I probably do sound like a crazy person. Or it would be nice if I could ask you guys questions and say, how do you feel about this? Or how do you feel about our government? Do you think our government is 100%, here to protect us and for or looking out for our best interests always? Because that would help me know what level, or your mindset is, or where your mindset's at as far as corruption or government corruption and PSYOPs or false false flags. Sorry, I think that Sharpie is affecting my throat. Yeah, I know about Operation Mockingbird, Chris. I mean, I don't know like everything about it, but yeah, I'm familiar with it. Artificial flags, that's a good one. Matt, I could say that. And they'll be like, what is she? What they'll be like, what if like fake flags? What do they mean? But yeah, so I can't I wish I could ask you guys those questions. Because let's say if I ask, do you are you familiar with PSYOPs? And you say no, then I'll know what I'm working with as far as that goes. And where to kind of where to start, I guess. For example, if it's, I don't know, someone that I've never talked about those kind of events or things before, or we're talking to, I don't know, a stranger, right? In Starbucks, whatever. I don't even go to Starbucks, but I mean, I used to, but not in a long time. Anyway, and I say, for instance, I'll throw out like, oh, do you 100% believe the official narrative of 9/11? And if they say yes, then I'll know I have my work cut out for me. Let's just say that. Or if I say, do you, what I said earlier, do you fully believe that the government is not corrupt at all? And if they say, oh no, yeah, no, they're not corrupt. Government's not corrupt at all. They're here to protect us and to look out for our best interests. Then I'll know that I'll really have my work cut out for me. You know what I'm saying? Okay, hard eyes. I hope you feel better. I know I should probably end this soon because I'll keep it under 2. Hope you feel better, hard eyes. If I knew Pig Latin, I would, but I don't know if everybody knows Pig Latin. Because if you answer any of those 2 questions, as far as like, yeah, I believe the official narrative of 9/11, and if you say that you don't think the government is corrupt, then I'll know where we stand. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? And that you're not you, but I'm not like that person is probably not going to understand anything that I'm saying, or they're going to think that I'm a crazy conspiracy theorist. Not saying that any of those types of people can't be, that you can't wake them up, but it's like I said, it's going to be very difficult. Because all you need, you just need that one event to wake you up. So like 9/11 was a huge wake up call for me, and is the reason why. I mean, I didn't, start researching 9/11 until many years later, but I think I just started with one of the documentaries, right? The conspiracy documentaries that questioned the narrative, and that was, like I said, a huge wake up call for me. So I went from there and I started researching 9/11, and then there was like the moon landings, and then it was flat Earth, and you name it. But the person has to want to do the research, to ask the questions, to watch other content and other creators that are talking about this, because you're not going to hear it from your mainstream media. So you can't find that information. Like, you can't find the information that I'm talking about on my channel on any of those news outlets. Or if there is, they're mocking conspiracy theorists. And the thing is conspiracy, the term conspiracy theory it's not even a bad term. I'd rather be a conspiracy theorist and ask questions than believe everything I'm told by law enforcement, the government, and our mainstream media. Call me a conspiracy theorist. I don't care. Yeah, exactly, Chris. They've been doing it for years. False flags and PSYOPs. And some are huge, like 9/11. That was huge. One of the biggest, if not the biggest one, right? But they can also be small. They can also be a quadruple homicide case. They're all done to push multiple agendas, but mainly to either take some sort of one of our rights away, pass a law or laws, push propaganda, social experiment, fear. Fear is a big one. Start a war. They've done it several times for that reason. Oh, hi. What's the matter? Right? My cat's like, okay, Mom, enough with the conspiracy stuff, hot bugs. I don't know if the chat's just not moving or if you guys are just right. And I thought about that, Chris, as far as like mind control goes. And I'm definitely no expert on MK Ultra, but I just don't see it. I don't see them going through all that because they would have to. I mean, they are planned years in advance, but I just don't. I'm not seeing mind control from Chris, or unless you're just saying you're just bringing up. Are you just bringing up? Oh, NK Ultra. Oh, I can't even read. Just ignore me. I was like, are you being sarcastic? Are you just bringing up mind control in general? So never mind. Just erase that. Take two. But that, yeah, no, that's hilarious. NK Ultra. And like I said, I wish I would have thought of that first. I'm bummed. Bummer. But yeah, Chris was subjected to NK Ultra. For sure. And you would think that that the majority of people would be happy about my theory, or to think that it might possibly be true. Because that would mean that everyone's okay, right? Oh, no, no, no. No. No, that's the worst possible outcome. Yeah, that was a shocker for me the first time. I'm like, wait, what? What do you mean I'm crazy and heartless and don't care about victims? Isn't that, I mean, you've been distraught and upset about this case for over 2 years. So isn't knowing that they might possibly be okay, isn't that a good thing? Nope, it isn't. Not at all. Because that would mean that they would have to admit that, well, they would know that they were duped. And nobody wants to know or admit that. And by agreeing with my theory, that would be admitting that they were duped. And, which is understandable. No one wants to know that they were duped. But I'm the kind of person that says, oh, well, fool me once, shame on you, right? And say, that sucks. I was duped. That's real shitty, but now I'm not going to let them do it to me again. That's the kind of person I am. And I know that I'm not everybody, but if I tell anyone my theory, like, when I can and when I'm blunt about it, they will come up with every excuse in the book or every theory as to why my theory is wrong, to prove that the official narrative is correct. It's crazy. Oh, and the shoot, which one was it? Was it the Liberty? Yeah, the USS Liberty. Yeah, I knew about that false flag, but I didn't know any of the details about it really. And I watched a one of the streamers on DLive streamed a couple documentaries about it, and that's awful. That's horrible what they did to those seamen. So like with no they could care less, no disregard, no, it's all for man's greediness, I guess. I know I'm just rambling now, Sophia, but I'm gonna have to start writing down, because when I'm on not when I'm on live streams, when I'm in on other channels in the chat and someone brings something up, I'm on it. And then I always think that I'll remember and I'll bring it up in the next live, and I don't. So I'm just gonna have to start writing them down. And there's other reasons why I can't just come out and say my theory as well, because you have, you know, the ones who have been affected and they are going to get their feelings hurt. And I've said it multiple times. I can't, unfortunately, worry about those people anymore. But I also don't want that negativity or I don't know, that negativity towards directed at my channel, I guess. Or I just don't feel like pissing a whole bunch of people off. I don't know. I still want to be respectful, even though my theory doesn't shine a good light on anybody involved in this case. I'm still trying to do it respectfully, I guess is what I'm saying. Because that's the last thing I want to do. I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't want to offend anybody. But if I want to expose the truth about this case, and if I want to wake people up, I'm unfortunately going to have to do that. And I think with each live, I think I'm getting a little bit braver each time, which I probably shouldn't. And I think that's why I haven't had an issue as far as any of my. Well, I had one live stream taken down, and I got a strike for it. And that was all I did was go over the anatomy of a false flag. Just talked about it. And then 2 months later, I get an email that says I got a strike for hate speech for that live stream. Just the anatomy of it from a website. Why can't I even talk about that? Why can't I say this is what, I mean, Wikipedia can talk about it. Wikipedia mentions a false flag definition, right? But if I talk about false flags or psyops, nope, you get a strike. And not only that, but 2 months later. So I don't even know how that works. Oh, but good night, Sophia. Thank you for being here. Sleep well. I mean, luckily it was a warning, but it's still BS. Like, how are you going to, 2-3 months later, you're going to give me a strike? So I don't know how that works, but and it might have been the whole victim talk, because there's a section where it talks about the different types of victims and these tragic events, the orchestrated ones. Mask of Sanity. Oh, I like that name. Hello. There's different types of victims, and once you bring up that V word, they don't like that. You're not allowed to talk about these, victims and these well-documented, they call tragic events. Even though these well-documented tragic events, many of them have holes in their narrative and inconsistencies. They don't say that, because I think that's a pretty a good reason to question the events if nothing adds up. What are your thoughts on extraterrestrials? Do you think they exist? I don't know. I used to think so. I used to think that we were not the only ones in this entire universe. But as time has gone on, I'm starting to think otherwise. Because it's like, in my opinion, if the government really wanted to keep the whole alien thing a secret, then they would have. You know what I mean? But I'm not really sure. I think it's I don't know. But thank you for asking that question. I don't know. It just seems like they're really pushing the alien thing. So yeah, and I have my doubts about Alex Jones as well. But then again, it's like, even with Bill Cooper, he opened my eyes to a lot of the government corruption. And some will argue and say that he was a Freemason, or he was not a Jesuit, but something, or he's working for the CIA, whatever. Even, it doesn't matter who it is. Like, you have to take everything with a grain of salt, and take that information that someone tells you, and you can choose to do whatever you want with it, right? But regardless if he was a Freemason or whatever, he did still open my eyes to a lot of things. So it doesn't change my opinion on him at all, because he even said, he's like, don't listen to me, do your research, like I say. But same with Alex Jones. Like, I do have my doubts about him now as well, as far as being a controlled opposition. But he woke me up to a lot of things as well. So do I believe everything that he says? No, of course not. But Bigfoot, that's a different story. If you ask me about Bigfoot, no, I'm just kidding. I don't know about that. Like, I probably shouldn't even say this person's name, because he's literally like red flagged from YouTube. But with David Icke, he's opened my eyes to a lot of things as well. Do I believe everything he says? No. Do I 100% believe his reptilian theory? No. Am I saying that it's reptilians are not real? I'm not saying that either. I think it is kind of a little far-fetched and far out there, but at this point, nothing is far-fetched. Who freaking knows? But until I meet a lizard reptilian person for myself, I probably won't believe it. But that doesn't mean I'm going to discredit it either. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to discredit anything. But just based off his reptilian theory, I'm not going to discredit the guy just based off of that. Because like I said, he has woke me up to a lot of things. And so again, you just have to pick and choose what you want to believe, or do the research. So I want to know what I want to know. Here's a question for you. Why is he called Bigfoot? Because he has 2 feet, right? So why is he not Big Feet? Thought-provoking question, I know. Oh, I know. I would like the answer to that. As far as we know, he's not hopping around. I'm kidding, but not kidding. And I don't know if any of you are familiar with Marty Leeds, but he has a YouTube channel. He's also on DLive, but he does a lot of he did Flat Earth. I think he still might do some Flat Earth stuff, but he also his channel is content is mainly gematria and numerology, but he had, was it Helbig or was it Fetzer? I can't remember. I think it was I can't remember his first name, but anyways, he had one of the ones questioning the Randy Book Pew 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 event that happened in like 2012 at one of those educational learning facilities, and it was tragic. You know what I'm saying? So he had one of those individuals on his YouTube channel and interviewing him. And the Honor Network, and I don't know if you're familiar with Honor Network, but the Honor Network is the non-profit organization that Rennie Losner, one of the who's one of the dads whose child allegedly, in that event. He started it after that tragic event. And what the Honor Network does, if you go to their website, and don't let the name fool you because they're definitely not honorable. There's no honor at all. They help and work with victims and advocate for them that are victims' family members in these tragic events, the well-documented tragic events. Which one, Matt? But yes, probably him. So he started that organization, and what they do is, like I said, they allegedly advocate for these victims, but it says on their website that they have like 300 to 400 volunteers who go around the internet, social media, and knowing that you're not going to get anywhere flagging videos and channels, individually, they get these 300 to 400 volunteers to mass flag any channel or video that is questioning the official narrative of these tragic events that don't add up. And literally scrub these channels and any of the conspiracy theories from the internet. That's why it's so difficult to say, hey, go to this website, go to that website, so you guys can see what I'm talking about, that I'm not the only one talking about this kind of stuff and these events. But that network, which is also the same organization that the Ruseks were working with, right? And also on their website, it lists the several of these events that have been, in my opinion, proven to be orchestrated. So what are the odds that they happen to be working with all those victims in those events that don't add up, and also working with the Ruseks in a case that also doesn't add up? But that organization actually was the reason why Marty Leeds' first YouTube channel was taken down, because of that honor network, for mass flagging his videos, for having that individual on interviewing him about Randy Book. So they can say that that's what they're doing, is they say it's for harassment of the victims, and if they're being threatened, or so to stop harassment pretty much on social media for these victims of these events. But that's a bunch of bullshit, because they're just literally going around and scrubbing conspiracy theories from the internet. So yeah, I just thought I'd throw that out there. I made a video about that as well. Check it out. But as long as these other channel creators, especially the ones which I believe are that have been here from the beginning, the bigger ones, as long as they keep spewing out these ridiculous theories, they're just going to keep this case alive. They're going to keep people interested, and nothing's ever going to come from it, ever. Kessinger's never going to be investigated. She's never going to be brought in. She's never going to be given a polygraph. The case isn't going to be reopened. And I know that's not what everyone wants to hear, but I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear, unfortunately. If I wanted views, I would tell you what you want to hear. But that's not what I'm here for. So I also, right when this whole 35C crap came out, I told my viewers in the live stream, I said, watch. Nothing will ever come from the 35C, ever. And I said, if it does happen, that would probably be my luck. But if it does, I'll be the first one to come out and say I was wrong. But what happened from it? Nothing ever came from it. It was a bunch of nonsense just to give people false hope, or to keep them interested in the case, bury all our heads in the discovery again, because that's what it usually happens. Like right now the case seems to be dying down, right when the case starts to die down, some breaking news will come out. Some leaked audio tapes of the family, in prison visiting, or whatever, you know what I mean? The leaked phone calls, or leaked, quote unquote, or the 35C thing, right? When it was starting to die down, the 35C thing happened. Every time it's happened. But does anything ever come from it? Are we any further to figure, closer to finding out the truth about this case? No. It's just a never ending cycle. It's just theory after theory after theory. This case was not meant to be solved. It was done that way on purpose. That's the whole psychological aspect of it. They want us, 2.5 years now, trying to figure out what in the hell happened. If Nicole Kessinger is guilty, if Jimbo was there, did Jimbo help? Did Troy McCoy help? Did Nicole Atkinson help? Did Bigfoot help? And they will never answer any of the questions they've left us with, because it was done that way on purpose. That's why nobody can get away from this case. That's why that's how you pull people in. Release a bunch of body cam footage, and the majority of people will believe that it's real because they see it on the body cam. And then they make these cases as tragic as possible so that if anybody like myself or anyone else tries to question it, then you're immediately attacked. You are, because everyone's affected by it emotionally and sad and horrified. And it's how dare you? How dare you question the official narrative or the event? Because it pulls at heartstrings. The more tragic, the better. Nate's Bigfoot. Hey, Round and Round. I'm glad you made it. Yeah, I should probably end this soon though. And I know I'm just rambling, but no one's really saying much, and I feel like I'm talking to myself all the time anyways on these live streams, because you guys can't really respond. So Santa Weird is laughing. Are you laughing at me? But I'm the only one, as far as I know, that is giving some sort of answer or answers to these questions that everybody has. Like, why does nothing add up? Why are there so many inconsistencies? Why can't we get away from this case? Why is everybody so infatuated with this case? Hey, baked cake. Oh, cake. Ooh, maybe I'll make a cake tonight. I love cake. Cake. Why was no one's personal information redacted? Why did they release so much information in this case and not any other case? Why do we have more questions than answers when we have so much information? How is that possible? How is it that we have more closure in other cases where we didn't get this amount of information? Because if you think about it, they didn't really give us anything. They gave us a whole bunch of filler and useless information in this case. Nothing that they gave us gives us any sort of closure or understanding as to what in the hell happened in this case, or why Chris did what he did, allegedly. It's done that way on purpose, you guys. 100%. Hey, Alexis. And just because you see it on a body cam footage, it doesn't make it real. And just because someone is, we're told that someone's a victim, because the official narrative tells us that, and the mainstream media tells us that, and the government tells us that, and law enforcement tells us that, it doesn't really make them a victim. It just means that you believe what you're being told. It doesn't make you a bad person for questioning anything in this case. It doesn't make you heartless for questioning the behavior or things that these victims have been doing, right? Because being a victim just makes you a victim. It doesn't make you a saint. It doesn't make you not a liar. It just makes you a victim. What if someone was a serial killer, but they, unfortunately became a victim to one of their loved ones being murdered or something? Does that make them not a serial killer anymore because they're a victim? No. It just makes them a serial killer that's a victim. Does that make sense? It's probably a bad example, but they use that. They use the whole victim thing against us. Because how dare you question anything about a victim or a hero, someone who that we, the narrative tells us is a hero. I don't care. If there's inconsistencies in that so-called victim's statements, or shit doesn't add up, I don't care if they're a victim or coined a hero, I'm going to ask questions, because I think for myself. I know that sounds cheesy, but it's It's the truth. And I think logically, and everybody should think that way. That would be amazing. But they don't. They just believe every single thing that they are told without ever asking a single question or trying to even vet the information or ask for proof of what they're being told. Just because law enforcement tells us that that's what Chris is doing on the camera, or that's what we're being told, yeah, it might look that way, but it doesn't really mean that's what's happening. It just looks like Chris is dragging a body. Do we actually physically see any bodies? No. But it's done that way on purpose because they know that the majority of people are going to listen to the mainstream media, hear the narrative, look at the Nate's footage and go, well, what do you mean? Clearly he's dragging a body. No, clearly he's not. Because do you just believe that he's dragging a body because that's what you're being told? Or do you actually see Chris physically dragging a body and lifting it into the truck? And if they say that they can physically see a body on that footage, then they're full of shit. Because you can't see anything on that footage. But that's the little tricks that they use. And I brought that up in my last live stream. It's all circumstantial. But then again, why would anybody question it in the first place? Well, they wouldn't. And they know that. Well, I mean, I would. I do. Yeah, you can. And like I said, yeah, it does look like, I will agree, it does look like he's dragging a body. But he could be dragging anything. He could be dragging nothing. Just because someone appears like they're walking back, well, I mean, he was walking backwards, but just because it looks like he's dragging the body doesn't really mean he is. You know, majority of people don't even say, hey, but what about dead weight? Isn't dead weight like extremely difficult to lift? Maybe I should do some research on dead weight and to make sure that this could even be possible, right? But the majority of people won't do that. They will just believe what they're being told. And they'll argue and say, but I can see it on video camera, Megan. We saw it. You can see it. It's proof. No, it's not. It's not proof at all. Far from it. Even if I did see something that looked like, or see a body or something that looked like a body, I still wouldn't even believe it. And that might sound crazy, but things can be deceiving. And there's nothing wrong with not believing it. It doesn't make me a bad person. It makes me intelligent, in my opinion. And again, I'm not questioning or saying that everything is fake, right? Just the ones that don't add up and have inconsistencies. That's what I'm questioning. And I think that's a pretty good reason to question it if the shit doesn't add up. You know what I mean? I went out again. Then to show them, right? Give them the Nate's security footage. Give them all the body cam footage. I mean, it's literally, if you guys think about it, it's literally like a movie. We all got, or like a play, we all got front row seats to the Watts case on Broadway. I don't know. But I mean, really, we got a whole lot of body cam footage, and I mean, we even got to see Chris being booked into Weld County Jail. We got to what else did we? Oh, we got to see Ronnie being transported from the station to a hotel. We got to see the Thayers pick up Dieter from the house. A 45-minute, I think almost an hour body cam footage of the Thayers picking up Dieter from the Watts house, because that's relevant to the case, because that's what I wanted, to be able to fully understand what happened or why Chris did what he did. Yeah, glad we got that footage. Since when have they ever released footage of a murderer or someone who just pled guilty, right? He wasn't convicted at that time, but he did confess. When have they ever released that? And what makes Chris so special? Here, we're going to clear out the entire unit just for you, Chris, because you're a star. No, it's not. It's not. It's not real life. And just because you see it on camera doesn't make it real. It really doesn't. And I know that's like hard for a lot of people to grasp, but it's true. It doesn't make it real. And things can be deceiving. People can be deceiving. People can be shitty. There are shitty people. There are really, really shitty people out there. And sometimes people will do things that are unmoral, that they wouldn't normally do for whatever reason, whether it be financial gain, whether they were threatened, I don't know. There's a lot of corruption out there, and for anybody to say that there's not, then they're in denial. Huge denial. Because all you have to do is look around. I saw about the. Oh, I went over 2 hours. Just kidding. Can you talk more about the predictive programming? Yeah, I used to not say predictive programming on here, but I mean, you're fine. But Alexis, but I don't really care. I'm gonna say predictive programming, all I want. Because I thought about saying, just using the initials, but I didn't want to say PP every time. Because I'm sure there's some of you out there that are a little immature, and so I didn't want you to lose focus every time I said PP. What am I talking about? I laugh when I say that. So, but the predictive programming is a real thing. It as far as why they use it, there's it's not for certain. We're not sure, but there are a couple of theories out there, and they might all be real. I personally think that they're all correct. So one theory as to why they use predictive programming in movies and television is because they believe in karma. So the powers that be, whatever you want to call them, the ones who are orchestrating these events to push agendas, they believe in karma. And they think that if they essentially tell us what they are planning to do or what they are doing at the time, or even tell us what they're going to do in the next event, and we are too stupid to realize it, even though we would have no way of knowing, right? If we're too stupid to notice it or realize it, then that's our own fault, and they no longer have any bad karma on their hands. It's fucked up, but that's the way they look at it. Another reason for it is mockery. because they don't hide it. They're putting all this symbolism, and I mean, it just, I've never seen so much predictive, like 9/11 had a lot, but I have never seen so much predictive programming in one place and in one event like I have the Watts case. And that's just the predictive programming. That's not even all the symbolism and occult numerology and Easter eggs that they've put in the actual narrative and in the discovery. And it's overwhelming. I mean, I don't want to give them any kudos, but it's amazing how they incorporate all this stuff into these events. But just with the American Horror Story anthology alone, it's insane. There's so much. I mean, it literally follows the Watts narrative to a T, even up to what happened to Shanann. They tell us the truth about what happened. I'm still mind blown about it, and I've known about it for a while, about the connections. But so, like with American Horror Story, some of the connections are obvious, and then some of them are not so obvious. You have to dig a little bit deeper, but they don't hide it at all, what they're doing. I mean, they literally put all this symbolism and all this predictive programming in plain sight. That's the craziest part about it. Not the craziest, but one of the craziest parts about these events, because they literally throw it in our faces, and the majority of people have no idea. But once you know what to look for, or you don't even have to look for it. I say that every time, but once you're aware of these events and how they use this symbolism, and you start to notice patterns, and the proof is in the patterns, in my opinion. So when I start to see the same things that they use over and over again in a different tragic event, that's going to make me step back and look at it from a different perspective. And that's what I did with the Watts case. So you have the karma thing, you have the mockery, but then there's also another theory that they will essentially tell us what they're planning to do, so that when the actual event happens, no matter how tragic, no matter how unrealistic or believable it might seem, so even though, it's, no one can believe that Chris could do something like this, right? That he's capable of doing it. He doesn't fit the profile, or that, how is it possible that he's, put the girls into 8-inch holes, stuff like that. So they will essentially condition us, or subliminally condition us with the predictive programming, so that when the event eventually does happen, we will subconsciously, is that the right word? Subconsciously accept it, no matter how believable or ridiculous it might seem. And that might sound a little crazy, but that's why it's all psychological. I hope that you are kidding about, well, it depends, Chris. Yeah, don't even get me started, please, on Alan Watt, because that is a rabbit hole that I just recently went down. Now, if you're talking about Alan Watts with an S, like the philosopher, scholar, writer, teacher that died in 1973, then yes, I know his work very well. I listen to him all the time, especially when I put my headphones in, or my earbuds in before I go to sleep, because he has a really good voice to fall asleep to. But if you're talking about Alan Watt, the conspiracy theorist, the one who I believe is like, okay, this is going to sound crazy, literally trying to do like a whole Mandela effect thing for the real Alan Watts with an S. Because I mean, if I already went over it on D Live a couple of times, but that rabbit hole is weird because yeah, I'm just not going to get into it now. But I know who you're talking about, Alan Watt. He's on Alex Jones, and I never even heard of him until I accidentally stumbled upon him, thinking that I was looking up the other Alan Watts. But yeah, that's a rabbit hole that I fell down a couple months ago. But I mean, the Alan Watt that you're referring to, Chris, he does talk about a lot of things that I do talk about, but I have very, very strong doubts about that person. And maybe I can tell you sometime, but it was very, very strange. Like Ronnie doing the triangle hand symbol in the interview before Chris Watts confessed. He did a triangle one? Because I did put a clip of Ronnie doing the devil horn sign when Chris is confessing, but I don't remember the triangle one. No, what? Is the no for me, Chris? Yeah, to be honest, I have my doubts about if anybody is well, I mean, I say that, of course, and I'm I consider myself a truther, and my channel's still up, but I think I've been pretty good about what I say and the things I, or how I say them in my live streams and how I do my videos. So I think I've just been really good about that as far as not being targeted by the YouTube police. But like I said, my false flag stream that I did got a strike. So that just shows me that it's not safe to talk about whatever I want on here. But some of the bigger channels like David Icke and Alex Jones and whoever that are more blunt about these events and don't reword everything that they're saying like I do. If any of those types of creators or truthers are still on YouTube, I question it, especially if they have that many followers or subscribers, because if you were not a controlled opposition, you would not be still allowed to have a platform or a voice on this platform. Now, doesn't necessarily does that mean that they are? No, but I still that's just, I guess it makes me suspicious. I don't know, but I know on a deeper level, when you look, Shanann had a scar on her neck from surgery and she was strangled. She entered the house at 148, 13 death card. Yep. And Taro and the children smothered. Yep. Lots of 13s in this case. 33s. 666. 666 is in the coordinates of Survey 319. And guess how much Anadarko's oil price was on August 13th, 2018? Can you guess? 66.6. I can't make this stuff up if I tried. Betty's house numbers were the only neighbor on the body cam footage to have her address number showing. Adds up to 13. CC equals 33. Shanann flew into Phoenix, Arizona. The Phoenix mythological bird is highly worshipped by Freemasons and occultists. It also, I believe, represents death and resurrection. Huge occult symbol is the Phoenix bird. Yeah, the dude with the podcast Cutting Through the Matrix. Yeah, that's sorry, I think my mic went out again. All the names in this case, like Lee and all the Nicole and Nicholas. Lee in Chinese has different variations. So you have Lee, Li, and Lie. And even though it's Lie, it's pronounced Lee, but it's also the English word for lie. And that's where the whole karma thing comes in, and that's when they're telling us, with all the Lee names, many of them, that this will lie. I know that sounds crazy, but if you know how these people operate, and because they don't hide it, they put it in plain sight. It's not as coincidental and more on purpose. Also, with Nicholas, the name Nicholas means to conquer the people or victory of the people. Conquer the people. The people meaning the public, us, citizens. They're trying to conquer us. They're trying to control us with fear by taking rights away, by passing laws through trickery and deception. And it works. So, did you guys know that there's a oil field in Colorado called Wattenberg with a oil well called Shenanigans? Did you know that there's a woman who started or became a pew 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 control activist after the Randy Book tragic event at that educational learning facility that shall not be mentioned on this platform? She started the pew pew pew, or she became a pew 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 activist, huge, after that event, and Guess what her name is? Shannon Watts. Shannon Watts. Because they like to recycle names in these events. So they're little Easter eggs that they like to use. Who also, mind you, as far as I know, still lives in Colorado. And baked cake, yes, I do believe. And I mean, there's a difference between, like, I'm not going to say that anyone involved in this case is an A actor by all means. But I mean, I did a video compilation on DLive a few days ago of the best crisis actors and the best of the worst, actually. I mean, they are terrible. I don't know where they get these people from. Well, Craigslist for one. But as far as individuals involved in this case, well, one, it is more than likely they were planning this years in advance. So they had more than enough time to practice. Let's just say that. But to answer your question, do I think that Nate and sweet old Betty were involved? Yes, I do. And I love Betty. She's a very sweet lady. But unfortunately, I just can't trust her. Sorry. No, it sounds terrible, but yeah, and you have a great name, Shannon, and there's nothing wrong with your name whatsoever. It's just because there's several people that have, I talk about the Lee connections and the symbolism there and the meaning behind it, and they're like, but Megan, they're like, my middle name's Lee. It's like, that freaks me out, or my daughter's name is Lee, and I just tell them, there's nothing wrong with your name at all. There's nothing satanic or occultic or wrong with it. Like it's just a name, right? But it's the ones who are making these names and numbers like 13 and 33 seem that way. You know what I mean? Because they're just numbers. Like 13 is not evil. It's just a number. It's not going to cast spells, or it's not going to, there's nothing evil about it. But these, I don't know what to call it. They're not even people, in my opinion. They're not human. Maybe they're reptilian. Maybe they do exist. But they're the ones that are making these names and numbers seem that way, when really they're not. They're just names and numbers. So. Oh, I have no idea. Big Cake. Who knows if they did? Who knows if they even interviewed Jim? Because they're not going to tell us. But it's done that way on purpose. They only show us what they want us to see, what pushes the official narrative. And not only that, but they purposely leave out and put in certain things so that we rack our brains and we go down these rabbit holes and bury our heads in the discovery, trying to figure out what in the hell happened with this case, because they're not telling us anything. And they left us with all these unanswered questions. It's done that way on purpose. And that's why people can't get away from it. That's why it pulls people in, especially, I mean, more in the social media aspect of it. But like the whole woman that went to the house in September, the mysterious September woman. There's, in my opinion, there's nobody that showed up there. But they know that we're going to try to figure out, because we're human, right? So if we can't get answers from the source, if they're not going to tell us who the September lady was, what do we do naturally? We're going to try to figure out who she is. do research, bury our heads in discovery, come up with every theory in the book as to who that September woman could be. Because they didn't have to put that in there. They could have just left it out. They could have redacted it. Why would they put that in there with the September lady and then not be fully transparent about that? But they put it in there for a reason. So we will rack our brains trying to figure out who the hell that is, knowing that we will never figure out who that is. Same thing, like I said, with Jimbo. Did law enforcement interview him? Was he given a polygraph? Who's Jimbo? Where did he go to school? How long did he know Kessinger? Is he really best friends with or good friends with Kessinger's daddy? Is he really a geologist? Who are his friends? Let's look up his Facebook. You know what I'm saying? It's done that way on purpose. Hey, Orbital. Yeah, light and dark, exactly. Mask of sanity. And there's a lot of that mentioned in this case, too. Kobach mentions yin and yang to Kessinger. So you guys are kind of like yin and yang, huh? I don't get it. What's so funny? I thought people were, just tragically murdered. So what is so funny about everything in these interviews? Buttering up or not, or trying to get information out, it's not real life, in my opinion. I don't have Instagram, Chris. I have Twitter that I don't know why I signed up for it. Well, I do know why, but I just have DLive, YouTube, and Twitter. Twatter. Chris Twatter. As far as the fear goes, Orbital, the fear part of it is they want, specifically women, but whoever, they want us to believe that if someone like Chris Watts, because if you guys notice, every single person in this case that was interviewed had nothing bad to say about Chris at all. Not one bad thing about the guy. How is that possible? I don't care if you're an introvert. I don't care how nice you are. Someone is always going to find something negative about you. But they didn't have anything bad to say. It's like they all said the same almost exact thing about him. Like a script, right? Great husband, great father, never raised his voice. Great employee, great coworker, you name it. Wouldn't hurt a fly. But then what did all of those same individuals say in their interviews when they were asked if they thought he was guilty? The Rusek said the minute that they heard Chris backed his truck into the driveway, they knew that he did it. Wait, what? Because I'm pretty sure you guys just got done saying that you love Chris like a son, like your own son. He was an amazing father, an amazing son-in-law. But you heard that he backed his truck into the driveway and now all of a sudden he's a family annihilator and he's guilty? No. That's weird. Same thing with everybody else. Once I heard that he was acting suspicious, I knew he was guilty. Same with Nosy Nate. If that was my neighbor, I'd be pissed. I'd be like, so what if I don't back my truck? Maybe I was, my husband was out of town and he never lets me park my car in the driveway because of the oil or something. Or because his truck's parked there or something. So I decided to get, ballsy, right? And I decided, hey, he's not here. I'm going to back my car into that driveway. Screw him. So if I did that, and if my neighbor immediately said, "Oh yeah, she's definitely guilty. She's acting strange." Thanks a lot, neighbor, buddy. See if I invite you to the barbecues again. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense. You don't go from that to, yeah, he's guilty. So anyways, my point, nobody had anything bad to say about him. He doesn't fit the profile. How many times have you heard that? Chris does not fit the profile of a murderer or a family annihilator or a psychopath. So the reason why he does not fit the profile, or no one can believe it, is done on purpose, because they want you to think that if someone like Chris Watts can just up in one day murder his entire family for pretty much no reason. Yeah, they gave us, small motives like the debt and the medical bills and the bankruptcy, the mistress, Shanann being a little bit bossy sometimes, and Chris being an introvert, allegedly. So he kind of maybe bottled everything up inside and just ticking time bomb. Of course, they give us those little teeny tiny motives, because if they didn't, it really wouldn't be believable, right? But they never actually gave us a definitive motive as to why Chris did what he did, to give us some sort of closure or more understanding as to what happened, right? Or how he could do something like that. Again, it's done that way on purpose. Because if someone like Chris Watts can murder his entire family without an actual real motive, then what is stopping your husband or your significant other, or even someone close to you who you trust with your life? What's stopping that person from doing the same thing that Chris did to you? So it's all about fear. They want you to think that they don't want you to trust anybody around you except for law enforcement and the government, and that's simply not the case. I know that it has affected, and especially women. I've seen so many comments where someone's mentioned how they don't even feel like they can trust their husband, how they're always on edge. This case, it's so horrific, and I can't believe, what if my husband does that to me? So, I mean, it's definitely about fear. The best way to control people is with fear. And that's the thing. If everybody knew that this was a PSYOP, then it wouldn't be a very good one. You know what I mean? But that's why they are called psychological. Sorry, microphone again. Same thing with someone who's manipulative. If everyone knew that that person was a manipulating, then they probably wouldn't be a very good manipulator, right? That's the whole point of manipulation. And some people are more easily manipulated than others. Same thing with the psychological aspect of it. And that's why they, again, make these cases so tragic, so that people think with their emotions, and they don't think logically. So, when the majority of people are distraught or emotional or freaked out, that's when all logic goes out the window. So they pull at heartstrings. They make Shanann's Facebook public for the whole world to see. And she recorded her whole freaking life pretty much, right? And what does that do? It makes people feel like they knew Shanann and the girls. Like she almost welcomed all of us into her home, right? And into her life. And many women could relate to her trials and tribulations with their own, or struggles, or their illnesses, right? So that's why it pulled a lot of people in, and it pulls at heartstrings. And again, that's this whole psychological aspect of it. I've heard so many times, I feel like I know Shanann. I feel like I know Shanann and the girls. I feel like they're my family. When in reality, you don't know them at all, or they don't know them at all. The only thing we know is what we've been told and what we've seen on Shanann's videos. And I understand that it might feel that way, but again, that's the whole point of it. 100%. Like every time I hear someone say, I don't think Chris murdered anyone, I'm like, hello, I know that's what I've been trying to say. Why do you think that Chris didn't kill anyone? Because he didn't. And not that anybody else did. It just means that nobody killed anybody. But that's easy, that's easy for me to say. But again, I have a whole different outlook on this case. And I'm still covering the case, not because I'm trying to figure out what happened or who done it, right? Or who might have helped, or try to figure out why the cover up allegedly. That's not why I'm still here. I'm still here because I'm trying to wake you guys up to this case, because it's important. Important. I don't know why. I don't ever say important like that. When I'm like important, importante. But no, really, it's I mean, it's so out of hand how many people do not think for themselves and just believe everything that they're told, and it's very scary. Because I don't have all. I'm not trying to say I have all the answers, or that I'm more intelligent, or that I know everything about this case. But I know enough. I don't need to know some of the who's or the whys. All I need to know is, or see, is that it's orchestrated, and that we've been lied to on a very massive scale, much bigger than just a cover up. The orchestration is the cover up, or the cover up is the orchestration. One of those ways. I hope I wasn't muted for a very long time, because I don't want to repeat everything I just said. I should probably end this anyways. It's almost 3 hours. Oh boy. Okay, and you can tell my throat's getting all hoarse. But in a nutshell, in a nutgate, in a nutshell, my theory, and I'm going to try and say it in a nutshell and straight to the point, but without really saying it. I'm going to attempt to. So, I mean, or I could just say it and I'll just delete this live stream. I'm fine with that because all I did was ramble. But one of the main questions I get, or the most common ones, is why would they go through the trouble of orchestrating a homicide case? And for not just one, but for many reasons, for multiple agendas. And depending on the event, those are the agendas are going to cater to that specific event because they're all different. Like I said, one might be the pew 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 event. That might be to push pew 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 control or take away our second amendment, right? But the Watts case is different because it's a homicide case. So it's going to have, money's always going to be the main thing. But not the main thing, but someone's always going to benefit financially a lot or someone's. So there's always going to be multiple agendas. And I've mentioned, a couple of them in this live stream, but so there's multiple agendas. And the reason why they have to orchestrate them is because they can't just come out and say, hey, right? We don't want you to have those pew, pew, pew items anymore. We don't want you to be able to protect your family or yourself in case there's an intruder in your home, right? We don't want you to have those rights, that Second Amendment right anymore. So, and they know that because if they just came out and said that, if they said, hey, we're going to take your pew, pew, pews away. Sorry, but we're just being honest. We're going to take them away. The public wouldn't go for it. It would be stupid of them to do that, right? Because the public wouldn't go for it. So that being said, knowing that they can't just come out and say, hey, we're going to take your rights away from you, they have to trick us, right? So they use something called the Hegelian dialectic, which is also known as problem, reaction, solution. And then this will probably sound repetitive to most of you, but it's very important. So they use that problem, reaction, solution. And so the ones pushing these narratives and orchestrating these events, they create the problem. So let's say it's a tragic event, right? They create that tragic event. Then we react with our emotions because we're upset because innocent people are dying, right? So they create the problem. We react, not thinking logically. We just react and say, do something. Do something about these innocent lives being taken, right? If there's too many of them happening, do something about it. So we turn to them for the solution, not realizing that they were the ones who actually created the problem in the first place. So you have problem, reaction, solution, Hegelian dialectic. And they've been using it for a while, and it works. So, the ones who are saying do something about it, they truly believe that they are doing something good, right, for society by begging that these pew pew pews, just one example, begging the government to take those away from us, right, in order to stop innocent lives from being taken. So they believe that they're doing something good, not realizing that they're actually doing so much more harm. Because they're essentially just giving, I mean, willingly giving their rights up without even realizing it. And that's why it's fascinating to me, but it works. And I hope I explained that well. I think I've said it enough to explain it pretty well for the most part. So that's why they orchestrate these tragic events, because they have to do that in order to trick us to give up our rights, because they know that they can't just take them. That would be suicide for them, right? Because we outnumber them, and they know that. So they have to use psychological bullshit and trickery in order to take our rights away and our freedoms, pretty much. So maybe it's pew pew pews for that event. Maybe it's free speech for another. Fear is a big one. Fear is a big one. Look at this virus thing going around. That's a huge psychological mind fuck. Excuse my language. Because everybody's, or the majority of people are so scared and that they're going to get sick or that they're going to die if they don't comply with what the government's telling them, or what Fauci, little weasel that he is, because if he's saying it, then it must be true, right? I mean, don't bother asking your general practitioner or another second opinion. Just believe what Fauci says, because he's the president's right hand man, right? Okay, and I probably shouldn't even be saying this stuff, but it's so depending on the event, it's going to be multiple agendas. So fear, rights taken away, laws being pushed or passed right underneath our noses. And if you'll notice, right after these big high-profile tragic events, they are immediately pushing for some sort of something to be taken away. Right after the Boulder event that just happened at the King Super, where, tragic event where people allegedly lost their lives, immediately after that, they were pushing for pew 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 control. After the Las Vegas event, then that's the one that I was mentioning earlier that I didn't follow up with, but they immediately banned bump stocks after that. The Nova Scotia event, tragic event, it only took one, and the pew pew pew's gone. Took those away from Canadians. If something's being pushed immediately after, or if they're demanding something, it's a big red flag that it's probably orchestrated. And we're talking just like a day or two after. Very, very soon after. And sometimes before. Sometimes there's been proof out there that GoFundMe's were already up for victims, and there's a petition on that petition.org or whatever for that baby law or whatever, the whole figuring out whether or not somebody should be charged with killing a fetus. There's something going on with that. I just haven't figured it out yet. But that whole dies as a result of the pregnancy, whatever that charge is that they gave Chris. There's a petition up there that I found on Nicholas Atkinson's Facebook. Yes, I was stalking his Facebook. No, actually, I was stalking somebody else involved in the case Facebook, and I just happened to see Nicholas Atkinson's. But anyway, not that I need to justify myself, but so I clicked on the petition, and It was posted only less than a week. They were already Chris hadn't even been charged yet at that point, and they were already trying to get this petition going to pass that law. So in my opinion, in a nutshell, this entire case was orchestrated. We've been duped on a massive scale. Everything we have been told is not factual at all. It's a story that was written out, or a play, a movie, whatever you want to call it, and we all got front row seats. Because the world's a stage. And yes, I do fully believe that all the main characters in this case were fully complicit and willing to fool millions of people. So the only thing that anybody, Kessinger, Chris, Troy, Jimbo, the only thing that, well, Jimbo, not even him, because we don't even know if he even exists. I mean, he has a name and he has a little bit of a background and some pictures on Facebook, but do we really know that that's Jim? It could be anybody. That person could be deceased for all we freaking know. Because I don't know him. Have you ever met him? I don't know anybody that's ever met the guy. That's how deceiving or easily, deceiving things can be. Hey guys, all we have to do is show the public or set up a Facebook account for Jimbo and say that he's Kessinger's for Kessinger, the mistress's friend, right? And then they'll all try to figure out who he is, guys, and figure out if we interviewed him or not, or did he cover up for her, whatever, It's like that's how easily things can be, how easily people can be tricked, is all I'm saying. So the families, Chris, Kessinger, everyone involved, the only thing, in my opinion, that they are guilty of is lying and deceiving the public. For whatever they gained from it, I don't know what they gained from it, if anything. I'm assuming they probably gained a lot. I don't know why, like I said earlier, I don't know why some people do immoral things. It could be for a number of reasons. Maybe they got a huge payout. I don't know, but that's one of those things where it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter what they got out of it. All what matters is that they did it. I mean, if they were threatened or their families were threatened in order to comply or to agree to do it, then of course that's terrible. But I doubt it. So even Shanann, you guys, I'm sorry, and I know you guys are going to probably, most of you are not going to want to hear this, but it does not shine a good light on her either. Victim or no victim. It's the only ones that are innocent in this case, in my opinion, are Bella and Cece, because they're children. And they would have no idea what was going on. But if you want to talk about victims, if you want to get all, deep and emotional, we're the victims. We are victims as well. Because we have been deceived. We have been lied to in order and been tricked for their financial gain or for their agendas. And I don't expect anybody to just believe me. Just even if it might take a year, some people might never fully understand like what I'm saying about this case. not everyone is going to be able to see this case for, or any of the deception that's going on for what it really is. I know that would be ridiculous for me to think that I'm just going to wake everybody up just off of one case or even multiple cases. My goal is just to get people to just ask questions and to not believe everything they hear and know that things can be so deceiving and very easily. And not everybody is who they seem either, even if they're claimed to be a victim or not. Because if you don't know them personally, if you've never met them in your life, any of these victims or family members, how do you really know who they are? All we know is what the narrative told us, what law enforcement told us, and what they told us. I mean, there's people on social media that are fighting over these two families who they've never even met, like ripping each other's hair out practically, and doxing each other and being just awful, saying, no, I'm pro Watts, I'm pro Rusek, I'm pro Shanann, I'm pro, like, for two families or people that they've never even met ever once in their life. It's insane. It's crazy to me. I mean, in my opinion, why are you advocating or fighting over a family you don't even know when you have your own family to do that, and to advocate for or whatever, you know what I mean? It's just, I mean, and I get it. I know that the whole, there's those that are genuine and want to help victims and see no wrong in them or nothing bad, right? But again, just because you're a victim, it doesn't make you doesn't give you immunity or anything to being questioned or whatever. You know what I mean? It just makes you a victim, unfortunately. Hey, Steve. Good to see you. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to end it. But, and I know that really didn't probably answer the theory question, but that's the best that I can explain it on here. If you follow me on DLive, I can come right out and say it. For now, anyways. I don't know how long that's going to last, but that's why I'm trying to take advantage of it while I can. So I will put my DLive link in the chat. If you do, and it doesn't cost anything. It's not a Patreon. I'm not charging. There's no fee. It just takes a couple minutes of your time to sign up and to show up when I go live. So, I just encourage you to follow me over there if you do truly want to know more about this case and my theory. So again, I will put it in the chat and I will pin it at the top. If you do follow me over there, just please, if you have a different name, let me know it's you. That'd be great. And it does take a little bit of getting used to, but once you do, it's fun. It's a good community. So thank you everyone for being here again. Thank you for having an open mind, hearing me out for 3 hours, and for your support. I really, really appreciate it. And for those of you who have been following me for a while, as well as anyone new, I appreciate it. So that being said, thank you so much, and I will see you next time. Okay, bye. Bye.